We are at the forefront of many innovative and exciting things developing in the world of senior living. With Tim Mallad, CEO of Forefront Living, as our guide, this show will shine a light on how older adults can embrace these changes to live active, happy, fulfilling, and thriving lives. Through discussions with senior living and hospice professionals, architects and designers, and people of all ages, will help today's seniors envision the art of the possible and take steps toward achieving the future of their dreams. Welcome to At the Forefront.
Welcome back to At the Forefront. I'm Tim Mallad, CEO of Forefront Living, and we're going to continue our discussion with Vicki Keltner. Welcome back.
Thank you.
In our first segment, we talked quite a bit about and I'll see if I say it right, Ms. Texas Senior America Pageant.
Yes.
And really a platform against aging and other things you're going to be doing when you participate in that pageant. And several times in that segment, you mentioned Presbyterian Village North, where you live, and you mentioned senior living. And I think when we think, or the public thinks of senior living, I don't think that they think of someone as youthful as you, as active as you, and vibrant as you would be living in a senior living community. And I found out in that segment that I would like to think we're your first senior living community. I know we're your only one, but you've had experience with senior living prior to us.
Oh, yes.
So talk about the attraction to senior living and why you believe in it.
Well, it started with my mom and dad, and this is one of the messages, because I know you wanted to know why I picked PVN, but what I want to say to people is don't wait. If you wait until you're not mobile and you're depressed or lonely or however you feel, and seniors have a lot of mental health issues, not because of them being mentally ill, they're incapable of handling it on their own. And one of the members at Presbyterian North said to me when I first got there, we're a neighborhood of neighbors and we take care of each other. And when I found out about the benevolent fund, I went, oh my gosh, because that's our biggest fear. Are we going to outlive our money? And they said they'd never let anybody go. And I don't know of any senior living facilities ever kicked anybody out. I don't know statistically what that is, but that just touched my heart. But what got me was when I walked in the door and I saw the walkers and the wheelchairs, and I said, well, where's the other dining room? And they said, oh, we only have one dining room. Most of the facilities I went to, they separated independent from assisted living. And I said, that is so inhumane. I don't want to live in that place. And I hadn't gotten in the door into the dining room when all of a sudden it dawned on me, and I looked around and I said, something different here. What is it? And that's when I asked that question. And that was it. And I said, sign me up.
So you mentioned your parents.
Yes.
Did they have a different journey when it came to
Yes,
senior
my
living?
father wouldn't move. And my mother was miserable when she got to that point because by then she'd lost all her friends. She was 98, and he died at 95. And he was real active and outgoing, and I'm probably more influenced by his personality than my mother because my mother was like me, and that's why she pushed me to be outgoing. But he wouldn't move, and then she waited till she was too late. Because when you're young, you're in school, you make friends. When you're in college, you make friends. Then you make friends at work. And then when you get to be a senior, your kids are too busy or they live somewhere else, and you need someone to talk to at 2 o'clock in the morning, and we're usually up at that hour. And we had a rule that if there was a light under the door, that meant we were up. If you wanted to go to Baskin-Robbins or play gin or whatever, we were up. And you just knocked on the door and said, I need to talk. Just ask me.
Can you still make friends as a senior? Can you make new friends?
You can make friends, but it is extremely difficult. We don't have connection because we meet these people for the first time. I mean, I've met people from Australia, Canada, Barbados, Houston, LA, I mean, everywhere. But we have a common thread. We're all seniors, and we're in this leaky boat together. But I'm delighted that they're in it with me because when we have an upset or we're not feeling, they can tell me, what's going on, Vicki? What's got you upset? I said, well, my daughter left, I'm alone. It's sad. Well, sit down, let's have coffee. Or like when we go in the dining room, the maitre d' and the servers and all say, are you dining alone tonight? And I said, God, I hope not. That's not why I lived here. That's not why I moved here. She says, no, this is the rule. You let me know if you want to join somebody, and I know who has already said, yes, we'd like a guest tonight. And then if they're all taken up, they get me a table, and they fill it up for me, and that's how I meet people. And we can talk.
You made a comment, and I think and I've heard this so many times from folks as they move into a senior living community. The dining room can be daunting. Going in and not knowing anybody, it can be like college all over again or high school all over again. And you made the comment about, having the choice to dine in your residence or in the dining room.
Yes.
Tell me about that, or tell us about that, please.
Well, one wise gentleman who greeted me the minute I walked in the door, he knew I was new, was in the reception area, and he said, "Are you new here?" "Yes." "When are you moving in?" I said, "May." He said, "Okay, I'm going to give you some advice." I said, "Please," because this is a big place, and I don't know what I'm doing. He said, "Do not order food and eat in your room. Discipline yourself to get up early, come to the center, and stay all day." So I have a little bag I carry now with all my little things I want to do for the day, because I walk up from the Oaks, which is one of the smaller buildings down in the back part of the property. And I plan my day to be in the building, and I'll either make a friend, go have coffee, go to an art class, go hear a concert pianist. In fact, one of my students at SMU that I'm a patron for has been entertaining us with classics, and everyone loves it because it's educational and entertaining. I was in the style show, got to do that, and one of the staff people helped us and worked with us, and the community directors and all that staff, they put everything together for us. I mean, I don't have to open my mouth very wide to say, what if we did, what do you want to do? What's missing? Oh, next thing, it's on the list.
What surprised you the most about moving into PVN? What was the most unexpected thing? Hopefully it's a good thing, so I'll leave that up to you.
It was. I was moving in, and I had a nice collection of Bordeaux wine. I dropped it in the parking lot, and this lovely lady came rushing up in her cart, jumped out, came over, and I said, "I am so embarrassed. I just moved in. I don't have a broom or anything." She said, No, this is glass." She calls maintenance, 5 minutes over there with a bucket, because it's glass, and we weren't going to put it in a plastic sack because it could hurt somebody. And she swept it all up, put it, and she says, "Now, go get it unpacked." I mean, that surprised me. I didn't expect that level of, and it's not service, it's a commitment to help us, because we're helpless. We really are having a hard time. We're struggling.
You made an interesting, when we met downstairs, you made an interesting comment about getting a ride. You came into a distant door here, and they suggested that you walk probably further from the Oaks than to the studio, and you compared that to living at PVN. Do you want to share that story?
Oh, sure. It was a wonderful gentleman, a security guard, and I waved him down and he said, "Are you lost?" And I said, "I'm totally lost. I'm supposed to meet someone in a coffee shop in Tower 2. Jump in." And I said, "You don't mind? Is it okay?" And he said, No. I said, "Well, I'm used to this because at PVN, Presbyterian North, where I live, all I have to do is raise my hand. If one of the maintenance guys are going, I said, 'Which way are you going?' He said, 'I'm going this way.' I said, 'Can I ride?' 'Sure, jump in.' They're always there. If I get tired and I'm walking, they'll come pick me up. If I want to go to somebody's house on the opposite side, they come pick me up, and they say, 'What time do you want us to come back? We'll come get you.' Now, if they're busy, we have to wait. I don't have anything else to do, so I'm fine."
Yeah, it's interesting. You mentioned leaving in the morning and spending the entire day there. My mother lived at PVN, and she would, start out with breakfast or at the cafe, and wouldn't come home sometimes until 8 o'clock at night, spending the whole day there. So many things to do, but some of the things that you've mentioned to me, I'll start with the art. Tell me about art, because I know that two of our recent luncheon nominees, Pam Altizer and Pam Southern, are responsible for an art studio. Do you want to tell us something about that?
Well, actually, I got to go to the hospice luncheon, of which you spoke, and then you had the Truth About Horses, the author.
Yes.
And the art studio is absolute paramount. But I have to tell you, the art studio is taking a second place to the woodworking shop, because I understand we have a resident who makes these beautiful pens out of wood. Well, that gives the men something to do. A lot of stuff is geared toward women, and I'm beginning to see certain things that the men are more interested in. Woodworking is a great tool, a great art.
You talk about art. I think what's interesting, I've had a long history in senior living, and I remember in the 80s, our art studio consisted of a kiln and Christmas trees that in the different ceramic things, but I believe our art's just a little bit different.
Oh, it's huge.
What goes on in that studio?
Well, first off, everybody who comes in there has a talent they can offer. And depending on what their level is and if they want to work and teach and work with the teachers, instructors, everything's there for you, and you don't have to haul everything everywhere. Because I'm in a small apartment, so I don't have room for it. I really don't have very good lighting for that either. But where the art studio is, it's wonderful, and the lighting's perfect.
Well, we've made the commitment, whenever some day in the future, we do another phase, we will have an art studio with good natural light, so all that beautiful artwork can continue. But you also mentioned in the first segment about fitness and about wellness and about a focus on that. Talk to us about how that has impacted you and what you partake of.
Well, I noticed taking care of a child that had a chronic illness that my health went down dramatically. I gained a lot of weight, my blood pressure went up, and once I sort of breathed and said, okay, now my daughter's married, that part of my life's done, my late husband has passed away, we've sold our business, and I was kind of like, now what am I going to do? And I said, I needed to take care of myself. But I'm not disciplined enough to do it by myself. I have to have a schedule, I have to have somebody telling me what to do, because I even can get hurt. And this is one thing that Medicare, that a lot of people don't realize, you don't have to wait anymore. And we are Medicare approved at Presbyterian North.
Yes, we are.
And so if you got a shoulder injury or you need balance training, they can do all of that and continue it, don't start. But you need very expert training. You can't just go to some fitness club somewhere. You get hurt. And I see that happen to a lot. And that, well, it's too expensive. And I said, if you sat down and calculated everything you spent, I write one check. And I have a couple others, but other than that, it's one-stop shopping.
So what classes do you take on the wellness side?
Well, I haven't taken the classes there because I've been training for the Miss Texas pageant, because I take Pilates. And if anything, I would love to have is Pilates machines, because it's the overall training. And the men will love it because it was started in World War I to train the men in a small space.
So when did you start the Pilates?
Oh, probably 7 years ago. So I was in my late 60s, early 70s. I was not a workout person. I didn't even want to sweat. Excuse me, women glisten.
Glisten.
They don't sweat, yeah.
That goes well in pageants, correct?
Very
The
much
glistening.
so. Yeah.
So you mentioned also earlier just about inner strength, spiritual wellness, emotional wellness. Talk about that and how living in a senior living community has impacted those things.
This is really important. I've noticed, of course, the chapel is beautiful, and I understand the stained glass was salvaged from a chapel in Waco, which
That's
I
right.
think is wonderful. And stained glass was the visual presentation of the gospel. And by watching each of the panes, because they couldn't speak, they couldn't speak English and they didn't write, but they could tell the story through this pane glass. So when you walk in that, you immediately have a feeling that God has his hand on this place and on the employees, and you know it by the way they serve. They understand why they're serving. It's not a job. And when those kids were there this summer, it was a whole new world. And by the time they left, they were talking, they were engaging, they understood their jobs, they were trained extremely well. I mean, we have everything. I also understand we have school, where we donated some cleaning supplies and things, and that some of the seniors go down there and read stories to the kids.
Absolutely.
Because maybe they don't have any, I don't have any grandkids. So we can go down there and read stories for the kids. There isn't anything that doesn't touch my life that doesn't have to do with my faith in human beings, and I want to see the good in everybody. Most people don't complain around there. If they're complaining, it's a comment that needs to be dealt with, like too much salt, or, gee, that Tabasco sauce was too hot,
Well, you control how much you put in.
Well, that's true, you do. But the point is that every denomination is represented. I have learned a lot about Judaism through the rabbi that comes, and now he comes twice a week. And the Christians and the Jews have been talking to each other, and we have some Hindus, and we have, I assume we have Muslim, we have everything there. But we're now unifying because we're in this boat together. And we have wisdom and we have experience. And plus, most of us have had somebody that was in wartime.
I saw a twinkle in your eye when you mentioned the students. We
Yeah.
recently did a podcast, and we had three of them
I
here
listened to it.
with Nancy Greer.
Yeah.
And again, the sparkle is back.
Yeah.
What's the twinkle about? Tell me about those students, and tell me about the intergenerational piece.
Well, today, for a job for a kid to get, it's not very exciting. It's either sacking groceries or waiting in a restaurant, but you don't get to be can't take the orders until you know the menu and all that. And that's very challenging. But I just was so excited that we offered something to them because we noticed that they didn't know to serve left and right. And we had lots of conversations about that and how you ask for something and how you wait till they finish their conversation. But by the time they left, they know our names. They were engaging. They said, Mr. So-and-so, are you having pork tonight? I noticed last night you had this. They were paying attention to the details. To train that in kids today is not taught in school anywhere. They don't teach them anything.
Absolutely.
And it was a training ground, and those kids are going to leave there, and they're going to know that they can get a job, because when they say they were in a retirement community, which is a very challenging market, and they dealt with it, and they got a letter of recommendation of how well they treated. But it's not the serving, it's the attitude they have toward us. We're like their grandparents, and they're like our grandkids. And we just had the best time with them.
I'm going to ask you the same question I asked you at the end of the first segment.
Okay.
If you think about senior living, and you talked a little bit about the vision from your parents' day, and your decision, if there was something that you could have that we don't have now, or something, in the immediate future for senior living, or in the long-term future, 5 years when most of us are over 65, what would that be? What would you like to see the future
You mean
be for
like
seniors?
something
or
very
senior living?
specific?
Whatever you'd like. It's your wish.
Pilates machines, at least 6 of them.
But
and we
six,
have-
that's specific.
Yeah, and we have room for it, and the men will go nuts because they think it's easy, and it's not. But it's an overall tone, and you don't fall. Second thing, community garden. Well, I mentioned it, the financial thing, and the director said, oh, we're working on it right now. And I said, great, because there's a lot of us who want to grow flowers, and we can have a competition about which flowers. We can have a butterfly garden. I mean, there's all kinds of things we can do with that, and they're already working on that. There's not a whole lot that I could say that could be added because we run the place. In a sense, we're on the committees. So if we don't like something, we can't blame anybody but ourselves. So if I have a new idea or something, I know what we were going to.
Right.
We want to have Toastmasters come and be a part of it because half of us have all done Toastmasters because we were all managers. And that was one of the things we were required to do was do Toastmasters.
Well, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
And you just happened to have a discussion with me on the cusp of budget season.
Yes.
So we can certainly look at,
Yeah.
what things we can make happen. I think a lot of the residents have shared very similar things.
Yeah.
Well, it has been a very pleasant
Thank
day
you.
with you.
Thank
I
you
wish you
very
much
much.
luck on
Thank
the
you.
upcoming pageant.
Okay.
And continued success with Pilates.
We have
Yes.
a bus, so you can ride with us to the pageant because the director of our activities has booked the bus, and we have 30 spots, and the last I heard, we're almost sold out. So if you get your ticket to the pageant, you're guaranteed a spot on the bus, and they're going to take them and bring them back. So I have my own cheering section. Plus, there's a People's Choice Award when they come in, and they have to donate $1 to help the pageant and our purpose. It's a nonprofit. And I said, be sure and bring some change because you're going to have to vote for me because I need every single point. And that's how you win. You get your points added up. So,
And every vote counts.
and every vote, every one counts for sure.
Well,
Thank
Vicki,
you so
thank you
much.
so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, and I enjoyed meeting
Yeah.
you and working with your staff. And I can't think of a more delightful people to be with. And they're my friends. They care for me. And God bless America. God bless us. God bless everyone, as Timmy said.
Bless everyone, and thank you
Yeah.
for joining us at the forefront.
Thank you very much.